Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary and explanation of all main quests released in the game Wuthering Waves version 1.1. Rover meets with Chisha and Yang Yang and Jinzo and introduces them to the little creature that helped her defeat the Threnodian. Yang Yang says Baija said the little creature is an echo contained within Rover's body. When Rover fought the Threnodian, the little creature absorbed an attack which was somehow converted into a power Rover can now use. Baija said Rover and the little creature are separate yet symbiotically connected. For instance, if one of them grows strong, the other will also grow strong. On the other hand, if one of them gets hurt, the other may also suffer. Yang Yang mentions while unusual in Huanglong, intelligent echoes like the little creature are more common in other nations. Rover names the little creature Abby and Yang Yang and Chisha leave. Days later, Rover has a dream that tacit discords attacked a place called Mount Firmament. In the dream, Drea, the sentinel of Jinzo, descended onto Mount Firmament and used its time-controlling powers to protect it. Rover decides to go to City Hall and ask Jingxi about her dream, only to find Sanhua there. Sanhua says Jingxi left for Mount Firmament in search of Dre. Side note, in a previous main quest, Scar said the Fraxidus captured Dre. Rover intends to follow Jingxi, and Sanhua arranges a wayfinder to help guide her through Mount Firmament. Rover heads to the ferry to Mount Firmament, where she meets her wayfinder, Changli. Changli explains that Mount Firmament suffers from temporal distortions. Normally, 1 day spent at Mount Firmament will cost you 10 days off your lifespan when you leave. However, Mount Firmament has grown even more dangerous as the temporal distortions have become erratic. Changli suspects a connection with Dre as the flow of time on Mount Firmament is tied to its power to manipulate time. Changli also comments there are old stories in Jinzo of someone similar to Rover appearing long ago. Changli suspects Rover is actually the same person from those stories. If so, Rover should be immune to the temporal distortions. The two hop on a ferry and head over to Mount Firmament. Once there, they find devices created by the Court of Savante that mimic Dre's ability to manipulate time. They use the devices to continue on and eventually reach the town of Hongzhen. Mount Firmament is filled with temporal distortions, but Rover seems immune to them. The two find Fraxidus all over the island and battle through them. Along the way, Rover tells Changli about her dream. Changli confirms the events from her dream were real and occurred over 100 years ago. They pick up Jingxi's trail and follow it to a shelter protecting Hongzhen survivors. These survivors are led by someone named Xin Yi. Xin Yi tells them Jinxi left a little while ago and should be at the ruins of a Court of Savante facility. Jinxi needs to go through there to reach Mianlong Chamber where Dre is. The shelter they're currently in was created by Jinxi and is safe from temporal distortions. Xin Yi noticed Jinxi seemed weaker, and since Jinxi's powers come from Dre must also be weakening. Rover and Changli follow after Jinxi. Along the way, Changli talks about how Jinxi was chosen as a baby for her resonance ability. Jinxi was taken to City Hall where she was raised to become the Sentinel's appointed resonator. Jinxi had many teachers including Changli and Xin Yi. They continue on and find and read through a bunch of Court of Savante materials. It appears Dre was injured and has been weakening for a long time. In its weakened state, Dre can only stop and rewind time. Dre cannot completely restore the normal flow of time. Moreover, if Dre dies, the temporal distortions on Mount Firmament will spread to all of Jinzo. However, the Court of Savante did seemingly find a way to resolve these problems. They hypothesized if Jinxi and Dre fought, the collision of their two resonating frequencies could cause a second resonance awakening. This would grant Jinxi stronger resonance abilities capable of fixing the temporal distortions and restoring the normal flow of time. Side note, Dre prophesized Jinxi would fight it one day. However, there is also a risk Jinxi could overclock during this fight, and that overclocking might even be essential to the process. Overclocking refers to when a resonator exhausts their abilities, often leading to injury and even death. They eventually find Jinxi, who reiterates the findings from the Court of Savante materials and wants to fight Dre in order to save Jinzo. They later find the cipher key, something Xin Yi told them to find earlier, which allows access to Mianlong Chamber. Just then a bunch of Fraxidus attack. Changli stays behind to deal with them while Jingxi and Rover return to Xin Yi. Xin Yi uses the cipher key to give them access to Mianlong Chamber. Before they leave, Xin Yi explains the Fraxidus used the Court of Savante's research to trap Dre in its resting chamber. They head over to Mianlong Chamber and find more Court of Savante materials. They read them and learn when Jingxi was an infant, her and her mother were killed by tacit discords. Dre used his time manipulating powers to bring Jingxi back to life and made her his appointed resonator. They eventually reach the Mianlong Chamber and free Dre. Drea says it was injured long ago and since then needed the Mienlong chamber to survive. After being captured by Fraxidus, it seems Drea is about to die. When Drea dies, the temporal distortions will spread to the rest of Jinzhou, freezing everything in a merged state of past and future, life and death, until time ceases to exist. Drea's plan is to use all of its remaining power to freeze Jinzhou in time, hoping someone in Huanglong will figure out how to fix things later. Jinxi disagrees with Drea's plan and insists on having their prophesized fight, as that would give her the ability to fix everything. Drea is reluctant as this may cause overclocking and destroy Jinxi, or worse, get her stuck in a time loop where she is tortured for eternity. Despite this, Jinxi still wants to fight. Drea agrees and asks Rover to command Drea to transfer its time powers to Jinxi at the exact moment Jinxi depletes her resonance ability. This will slightly increase Jinxi's chances of success and likely save her life. They then head to a sonorosphere at the top of Mount Firmament where Jinxi can fight Drea. Side note, sonorospheres are basically separate domains. For some reason, it seems only Rover can open the sonorosphere. Rover then lets Jinxi inside where she fights Drea. Near the end of their battle, Rover orders the transfer of Drea's time powers to Jinxi. Jinxi seemingly gains new power and uses it to repair all of the temporal distortions on Mount Firmament. They leave the sonorosphere and everyone seems okay now. Drea seems to no longer be dying, and Jinxi is floating around unconscious. Drea says it'll take Jinxi back to Jinzhou for recuperation and gives Rover some answers. Drea says Rover is its arbiter and former master. Long ago, Rover established Jinzhou City with Drea. Rover then tasked Drea with protecting Jinzhou, and Drea's been doing that ever since. As for needing permission to access the sonorosphere and the transfer of time powers, it seems Drea's very existence is subject to Rover's approval. Drea says this is how it was designed to function. As for Jinxi, she's fully inherited Drea's time power, so Drea will step back and let Jinxi assume full leadership of Jinzhou. As for Mount Firmament, while the normal flow of time has been restored, the citizens will still have to deal with shortened lifespans if they leave. Abby then pops out of Rover's tacit mark. Drea says Abby feels similar to itself, but is unfamiliar with Abby. Drea says the Black Shores may have more answers and leaves with Jinxi. Rover heads back to Hongzhen and reports to her allies. We then see a Fraxidus named Frolova secretly watching Rover. Frolova says they will use the second Resonance Awakening to tap into power rivaling the Sentinels. Frolova adds complete control of the artificial resonator awakening process is within reach. Frolova then leaves, implying she's going to rescue Scar. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you've liked what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.